Welcome to episode 545 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
How we going, fellas?
Kind of a day. Looking forward to fucking talking to you guys and
Straight
getting
out
an hour or so. Yeah, that's it.
You didn't mention any of this like before that, in the sort of pre-show chat or anything.
We're just chatting fucking
He's got
sneakers, kids sport, fucking kids doing
dumping
well.
rather than dumping on two guys, you want to dump on everyone. That's what it is.
He's
No,
the
no,
fucking
Disperse the load.
It's
just
it's,
feelings.
It's like we say, with all the stuff that we have going on individually with our life, with kids and families and work and all the rest of it. Fucking once you hit record, you can actually forget about most of that shit. And I've just got to put up with your fucking bullshit, which is far better than the day I've had. And that says a lot about my day, because you guys are proper cunts.
Oh, there we go.
Mate, that's
We're back.
That's not very nice, and I'm in such a good mood, Glennie. Like the level of euphoria.
You get your little face
right now over the last couple of days. Fucking incredible. Yeah. I swear.
Lovely. What's got you on such a high?
Oh, obviously, result on the weekend, and then some news that came out today, and then there's extra.
As in the
sauce
Schuster
on that.
news?
Yeah, and there's some extra sauce on the news that I know, but I can't say because I can't burn sources or anything.
He's
But,
not going to
like,
the
it's
Tigers.
fucking-
Please tell me he's not going
Look,
to the Tigers.
I know two places he's spoken to, but I can't say. I can't.
Is one of them the West Tigers?
Hang on.
No.
Good.
So
I'll tell you
so
later.
hang on. There cannot possibly be something that you and two other people on the planet exclusively know, so that if one of those two people hear you say it, they'll know categorically that it was the other person who said it.
I know for a fact that there are several people who also know this news.
That's fine.
and that listen to this. And so I can't.
Well,
I can't be the guy. I can't be the guy to release
Yeah,
it
you
to the
can.
wild. Just be patient.
But none of
Give it
them
2
will
weeks.
know which one it was, and it'll start a fucking Game of Thrones style fucking thing with cunt Manly fans.
There are a couple of people. There are a couple of people who have presented the information. Only one of them has a podcast.
Yeah, but
So
again,
if it were-
you're not
if it
burning
were
your
to come out
sauce.
So yeah,
Just say
No, but-
allegedly a lot.
no, burn your circle of trust. But no, Glennie, not that you won't end up at the West Tigers. I mean, they had
Good.
their chance and they bombed out. But
Thankfully, we fucked that up.
I'm euphoric at the prospect of him leaving, and also at the prospect of any money that should be paid to him will probably be like in the interests of like a happy ending rather than a legal obligation.
Yeah, there you go.
But just on that very quickly, like, I mean, I don't know if we're talking.
Let's
about
get into it. Let's get fucking straight into it. Let's go to the news. Schuster's been given a fucking ultimatum.
Well, he's been given he's been told that if he finds another home, he's free to go.
Yep.
That's really all there is to it at the moment. I mean, there have been talks to two places that I know of. There'll probably be more. And there's always some stuff around the contract that I can't say, but it's nice in Manly's favour.
Well, are you talking about the weight clause?
There's no weight clause as far as that's not factual as far as I am aware.
Because the latest I'd seen on it was that there were clauses in the contract.
there's clauses, but there's no weight clause or anything like that. So that's because thinking like which player and manager in their right mind would ever fucking sign a document, specifying that sort of thing.
Who knows?
Like it's just I don't think there's ever been one in history. I mean.
Boys, just give me a sec. I'm just going to go check my C-grade touch contract. Just make sure there's no weight clause in there.
I remember back in the day there were some guidelines around Georgie Rose about what he should and shouldn't be eating and stuff like that. Back when Twos was coaching, and which resulted in the famous incident on bin day when he was taking his bin down and it fell over and some memo boxes fell out. And the Tuvi saw. I mean, but that wasn't like there was no like contractual thing like that. That was just what he'd been told to get up to match weight or whatever. But
the thing that gets me in all of these instances is that all of a sudden everyone wants to treat him like he was a fucking origin star.
Yeah. Oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen is Manly's a mean club for having him, and they're playing him in reserve grade, and $800,000. But the second he's gone, it's going to be fucking, oh, fuck, they were rough on that poor cunt. He's only 22 years old. Aren't they the fucking bad guys? The fucking, like, and I can tell you right now, there's fans of one club are fucking delighted today with the news, and there's 16 other fucking clubs worth of fans that are shitting themselves with their finger poised over the delete button on every fucking tweet on their timeline that they've ever fucking said about true stuff. I just wanted to say one thing though. One thing I can say about the contractual stuff is that, and like, I'm not going to name any names because, like, you know, obviously, firstly, I'm a nice guy, and secondly, I don't want to make any retards feel like fucking retards just because they can't math. But this $800,000 a year number gets thrown around. The fact is, it was a 4-year deal for $2.5 million, which included an upgrade to existing final year, which was this year, and then another 3 after that.
Yep.
And I mean, and that previous deal was $800K too. This fucking $800K bullshit that people come up with. The 4-year deal was a tick over 600 and a bit per year, if certain things were met as well. And like the things, like bonus clauses and KPIs that a lot of players have, like things like, you know, playing Origin, if the team makes top 4, fucking, you know, certain number of games or whatever, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, and you take those off, and I mean, it's not even that, let alone the fucking 800 that's, you know. And it was funny, like, I thought I was going fucking crazy, so I had to look it up. And I can't remember who the journalist was at the article, but I mean, there's literally an article saying, spelling out exactly this is what the deal is. Yet that same journalist, I've seen the cunt fucking throwing around the 800K like this week. And you're going, dumb motherfucker, you fucking literally spelled out the exact deal like fucking, you know, a year or whatever ago. You know, fucking idiots. Anyway, maths is hard, and yeah, don't feel bad if you can't do maths.
Yeah. Again, you're right. It's a no news thing at the moment.
And stuff,
all he's been told is that he can negotiate with other clubs.
Yeah, and basically, and Mestrov has done a fucking stellar job with the contract. A fucking stellar job with the contract. And so yeah, he's done. It's actually amazing business, and yeah, we shall see. And you know, lest we forget that his manager is the same guy that fucking let Ronnie Volkman fucking sign with the Dragons
before his medical,
or fucked up with the medical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not dealing with a brain genius here on the management side either. But yeah, so that's we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll have
Wouldn't that be fucking
more clarity
nice?
as to where he's going and what Manly does with all the money.
You know what? Wouldn't that be nice if there was a fucking just an article dedicated to managers' track records?
Oh, it'd be great.
Here's the guy. He did this for this player, this for this player, this for this player, this for this, and fuck this and fuck that, and this player's now in Super League and da 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 da. Wouldn't that be lovely? Instead of bullshit clickbait or, you know, another article about Latrell.
Yeah, could you imagine that?
Happy fucking days.
Like a manager's roundup.
Well, maybe we start doing that.
But there's some of the stuff. But the thing is, there's some of the stuff that's not public knowledge that you couldn't put out there. Like, I mean, like, you know, the manager out there that has that signed a young player and has a joint bank account with the player, and the contract with the player is coming up for renewal with the manager, and the player's too scared to leave because, I mean, it's literally a fucking signatory on my joint bank account. Like,
Wow.
you know, there's some dodgy fucking animals out there, man. It's fucking dodgy. I mean, thank God that our buddy Redpath is out there protecting the integrity of
Your buddy.
the trade. And yeah, Glennie, you act all tough on the mic, mate, but we know how it really is.
Oh, lovely. What else happened in the
you want to make everyone your enemies?
wonderful world of rugby league this week?
Nothing. I think I can't remember anything else.
How good is a no news week? Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you. Let's talk about fucking Trent Robinson.
Go for it.
And I don't want to go like into the nuts and bolts of the stuff he said, but do you remember? You know, he got East, you know, back to back for the first time, you know, in the NRL era and stuff, and you know, a couple of premierships. And he was doing and then through COVID, he was or after COVID, he was doing those little those things like it was after Origin or whatever. Where he's doing little breakdowns of, tactics and and analyst stuff. After the game to sort of break down some things in the post show, which is great. Everyone's like, this guy, so smart, great coach, obviously got a great record with his club, blah blah blah. Then even in 2022, he came out. He publicly, as an NRL sort of employed, person in a job in NRL, with like probably one of the better takes on the whole pride jersey thing.
Yep.
Fast forward to now, not even now. Fast forward to this year, this fucking guy has a shit take for everything. He came out like straight after the Lenu thing in Las Vegas and saying like, if it even happens sort of thing. And then today he's coming out, defending the celebration and the rehiring of Jennings, and East are going to celebrate his 300th game this week because he didn't get done in a criminal trial. It was only a civil thing, so there's not that sort of issue to work around. And, this fucking, he's gaining weight. He's getting, he's aging like fucking runners do.
Yeah.
And he's just coming out with shit take after shit take. This guy, year on year, is just absolutely crapping on his. You look at Twitter today, or X today. These fans are just like, what the fuck? This fucking guy. What the he's melting down in every press conference and fucking sooking about everything now.
Yep.
He's fucking he sooked about Dom Young getting sent off.
Yep.
That's as clear cut as it comes.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I just want to say, like, this guy was a guy that if he had fucking walked away from the game in 2021 and then moved into the media or something, people would he would be beloved and respected.
Yes.
Like few other people.
Yes.
In the last couple of years, though, this guy has just been. It's like he got cooked, but not during COVID because it was after that. Like he just got independently cooked somehow, and he's just coming out. Obviously he's fucking logged into 4chan one night on the, probably because fucking Michael Jennings told him about it, and and he's just cooked himself. I bet he was behind fucking Isaac Tungo in the queue to get fucking cash out that day.
Or he hacked Isaac's account. Fucking hell.
Anyway.
What else is happening? The other thing in the rumour mill is that Wayne Bennett's off to Parramatta.
Yeah, that was always like a possibility that we spoke about as potentially going to happen. Look, I think it's probably a good fit for all involved, but like at his age though, you feel like it'd be tough to drag him out of Queensland, right? And the way the Titans are going, they're gonna have a fucking vacancy real quick. And when the Titans sacked Garth, he went to them and said, "How about it?" And they told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What a sliding doors moment that was.
Is there a Mal Wayne issue? I can't remember one, but that's about the only reason that I could think that the Titans would say no thanks.
Yeah, and then speaking of Mal, Mal's going to take over the fucking South literally next week.
Which I thought wasn't. Isn't he employed by the Titans?
Is he or is he
a consultant?
Or did he bail?
He was a consultant at some point.
Remember, he wasn't. Remember, it was him that had the SPAC attack that he wasn't consulted on the. The whole Desi thing happened without his knowledge.
There you go. Okay.
So maybe he's pulled. The
I thought he was like the whole I want the Gus role. The Gold Coast is a fantastic junior nursery, but none of those players end up playing for the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, I've missed that. But is there a Mal Wayne rap? But yeah. I don't know.
Well, there might be if Mal's the coach of Souths.
Yeah. I don't think. Firstly, I don't think that would be a bad fit at all. Wayne at Parramatta. Like you've got some halves there that obviously have a higher than average base footy IQ that Wayne can work with. Look what he did with the Dolphins. With the level of talent they had, with guys that were literally over the hill.
Yeah.
When the Dragons first came into the comp, the conversation was, they're a bunch of fucking mids and guys that are past their prime. What the fuck have the Dolphins done here? And then all of a sudden, Wayne Bennett had them playing like a fucking rep team.
Yeah.
So,
if you can pull, obviously the talent across the roster at Para is, you'd have to say it's higher than the
100%
Dolphins,
it is.
right? But Bennett, his greatest attribute across his career has been his man management. So for him to get the best and that level of consistency out of Moses, Dylan Brown, I think, is the type of player that would respond exceptionally well to Bennett's coaching.
Yep, that's it.
But then there's some guys in that side that are solid first graders, and if it's one thing Bennett can do, he can have guys playing to a higher level than what they would under any other coach. And we're talking guys that are are solid first graders, not rep guys, and he could turn them into potential representatives or at least club stars.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of players in that Para roster that I think would respond and would go to another level under Bennett that they're just never going to get to under Arthur. So
could you imagine?
I'd be excited if I was a Para fan.
Imagine he's telling like Gutho and Mitch Moses and stuff. Like, can you imagine like how much extra gas they'd have in the last 10 minutes chasing down a side if they weren't flapping their fucking arms for the previous 7? And I think that's something that Wayne can instill.
Oh god!
Honestly,
your heart is full of hate, Nathan.
My heart is full of facts. And it's fucking hardening my fucking arteries.
He's got the Widowmaker of facts.
Yeah, I do. It's going to hit me one day, probably when I'm talking about fucking Parramatta.
Fucking hell. So there we go. So Wayne's ending up at Parramatta. Do you want to talk about the South stuff in the Souths game?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll talk about that then, I think. Yeah.
Lovely. Let's get into it then.
Okay, let me find my browser window with all the football-related nonsense. All right. Here we go. And where are we? Teams, match. There we go. Okay. So, round 5 kicked off on Thursday night with the Melbourne Storm 34, defeating the Brisbane Broncos 32 down there at the Korean Housewife.
Crazy game.
It was.
Could have been, you wouldn't have been far off, given past history, for thinking this game was over as a contest at halftime, with Reynolds going down with what the commentators were speculating, whether it was a season-ending ACL or what other potential knee injury it was, and turns out it was a hamstring.
Yep.
But
he quite clearly grabbed at the back.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was wishful thinking. I know it was for me.
Your heart is full of hate, Nathan. What I was impressed with, and I think, Ezra Mam obviously last season had a breakout year. This season he's taking it to another level, and I think, with over the next few seasons, with Reynolds can't go on forever. He's probably got a few more years, a couple more years, 2 to 3, I guess, left maybe. But to see the way Ezra Mam stepped up and really almost snatched it for the Broncos and certainly kept him in it, it was Nathan's favourite word, NRL chaos. But I was impressed with Mam's ability to seize some really important moments and give the Broncos a shot at winning that game. And they bombed a couple of tries as well, so the result could easily have gone the other way. But fuck, there was some crazy shit in this game.
Yeah, also some just some crazy defense optional shit. Too,
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah,
and well, again, you got a situation where when Nelson has probably been the most intimidating forward in the league for a long time, size-wise.
Mm.
And now all of a sudden, here comes Takura.
Yeah.
And fuck, like that try that he scored at the end. I know there wasn't a lot of goal line defense there, but if that's not a play they run at least once every set when they're inside the 5, then they're fucking crazy.
I'd run it 5 times every set.
Yeah, well, you run it
Just-
5 times every set,
just
and you cut
under
him out
8 set.
2 or 3 times,
And that's it.
and you know,
Yeah.
and you know, just use like sort of like kick out.
Yep, that's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Just under 8
It's the
sets.
same as
Like
me.
if you've got that guy in your team,
Yeah.
play to your
Yeah,
strengths.
and it's that thing we always talk about, the player that just by their presence there affects the defense. It's not even that they have to get the ball and draw defenders in. It's such a fucking weapon. The other thing I want to talk about, like, we don't often sing about it, like how fucking critical to Melbourne is Jerome Hughes. Like, you talk about players that get all the glory and the highlights, and everyone wants to talk about Ezra Mam and all of these things. But if I'm building a team at the moment and Nathan Cleary is not available, Jerome Hughes is my first choice 7. Just like everything he does is textbook for that side. And depending on the makeup of the side, he'll change his involvement. And that's, I think, his most understated talent. But he was fucking sensational in this game.
The fact that he's taken over from Cronk, when he came to Melbourne and the early part of his career was not a natural halfback.
No.
Finished his career as, you know, one of the best 7s to go around. Jerome Hughes, early in his career, you know, fullback, maybe a running 6 at a pinch.
Yep.
Is now easily one of the most critical 7s in any side of the competition. Like, and still has his running game, but, you know, kicking game, organisation, just what he brings to the team on so many different levels. He's, you know, it's a testament to Bellamy as well, but at the end of the day, his coaching only goes so far. The guy has to take that on board and believe and put the work in. And
yeah, exactly.
You know, he's just gone over these last few seasons, just gone to several other levels.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the Titans need a halfback, and had one.
Yeah.
who Glennie just slathered.
Lovely. Daniel
on the knob
in the socials said, Klein is the worst
Unnecessary.
referee in the game. Watch him get all the origins. That's it. Conan said, this douche versus turd sandwich game has been pretty good. I thought it was a fucking enjoyable game. Chris.
It is very enjoyable.
He said, funniest moment for me was Munster getting his face deliberately in the way of Klein pointing back to the Broncos goal line and pretending he had poked him in the eye. Then Klein slapped him over the back of the head over it as Munster played it up better than Ronaldo. That's something I want to point out. Can you let's reverse that.
Well, yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean,
how the fuck was that allowed? How the fuck is a referee allowed to put hands on a player, even in a playful manner? But then, you know, players are getting fucking suspended for touching referees.
For bumping them when they're in the way.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Andrew.
The simple answer is because that's the rules.
Yeah, you know. True. Andrew, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. It was quite an entertaining game to watch, especially having thought also that Nelson was the biggest player I'd ever seen strap the boots. But no, Takura has him by 3 centimetres, and it was good to see him get over on debut and get the Bronx back in it. Have a feeling Reynolds being so emotional might be near spelling the end of his body. How long has he signed for? Yet again, someone run the analysis on me. If you'd have chucked a $5 on every player who made their debut for the last year to be an anytime try scorer, I reckon you would be up squillions at the moment. Fucking squillions. Next game.
The Doggies 30 defeat the Roosters 26 in the second, my second favourite game of the round. This one had fucking everything that I love to see. It had cunts getting sent off. It had the Doggies sucking so badly they nearly get run down from a 26-0 lead. It had everything. And can the Roosters get in a fucking war Like they, out of all the teams, I mean, I thought it was just East versus South, but no. If you're the guys that are always getting in the war and getting sent off and knocked out everything, then maybe it's you, maybe it's East.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the ones.
Look, they played 55 minutes or so with 12 men and longer still with no Teddy and still almost got the job done.
And they finished the game with 11, yeah. So the last 10 minutes after the...
The Dogs, they'll take some confidence out of getting the 2 points, but, Serraldo is still skating through without scrutiny, still plenty to do. They almost coughed up, as you say, a 26-0 lead to a team without their captain, with another player sent off, as you say, last 10 minutes or so with or however long
11
with 11, and they
I think if Radley
couldn't stretch.
If Radley
it.
doesn't get binned, I reckon they win.
Yeah,
and then it comes out that Radley shouldn't have been like he got binned because of the Radley tax anyway.
Yeah.
Becoming the most sin bin player ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the game. After what is a incredibly short career to date too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not like he's fucking Adrian Morley or someone accumulating shit over, or Luke O'Donnell accumulating stuff over a lot of years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done it over 3. 4.
I don't know if it's the Gus factor and his influence in the media or whatever, but Serraldo is absolutely skating through, and it's that side, that roster, the money they've spent. Not enough questions are being asked.
No, and I don't know when they're going to be asked either. I mean, this one just goes. No, yeah, this one gets banked as 2 points.
Yeah,
but I mean, I know Doggies fans are just like, can't celebrate that.
Oh.
Cannot celebrate that.
Look, I don't know what sort of Doggies fans would be saying you can't celebrate that. Because that...
Well, they're saying that the feeling coming out of that game was it didn't feel like a win. Like it was a win, great, bank the points, but...
Well, fuck me, you fucking sad sack cunts. What else do you want?
Well, I imagine they'd want to win 50-0 after being up 26-0.
No, but the Roosters would have been...
With a man down on the other side.
The Roosters would have been heavy fucking favourites in that game. Far superior team on paper.
Yeah, but that's all stuff that happened before the game. I mean, when you're playing like almost an entire game against 12 men and you're up 26-0,
but
the expectation is not that you fucking just about blow that lead and lose the game. The expectation is you go right on with it because that other team that's doing more defence because they got to cover an extra guy. They're the ones that are tiring.
But again, if your whole fucking brand for the last
I'm going to let you guys debate this while I go to the little boys' room.
But your whole fucking brand as the Bulldogs for the last 2 years has been to play for about 60 minutes and then just switch off. So I think they might have got 65 out of him in this game. So it's a fucking improvement. I don't know what else you want. What else you want to say on this one? The Dom Young thing, was that a send-off?
Yeah, I think it's about as clear as it gets, right? I mean, that's the funny thing about Dom Young. He had to make 3 or 4 tackles in that game.
Yeah.
And he missed 2 of them and was sent off for the 3rd one. I'm glad they spent all that money on him to get him from Newcastle.
Yeah.
Really paying off for him.
Interesting one. What do we got in the socials? Nathan. Dom Young's highlights in 26 minutes. Drop ball, 3rd hit up. Here we are. This is what we're saying. Drop ball, 3rd hit up of the game, which led to a try. Tackled over the sideline and bombed a try. Stepped by kick out, which led to a try. Got called a weak cunt by his teammates after a kick off for not getting involved. Clotheslined a bloke and got sent. Fucking hell. Put that on the back.
Outstanding.
Put that on the back of a trading card. It's fucking glorious.
Yeah, well, why don't they do release a print of that? I'll be down.
Steve, any ideas on the gold rooster on Manu's sleeve? Is this an acknowledgement of games, premierships, etc.? And someone's replied, there's games played.
Yeah.
What's the gold rooster? What is it? 150?
How many games? How many games has Manu played from? He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? He's not like he hasn't hit 300, is he?
No, not at all. Not at all. Fucking hell.
I'm sure a Roosters fan. I was surprised that a Roosters fan didn't get on there and actually. Oh, hang on a minute. Here we go.
Well, both Roosters fans were debating it.
Yeah. Okay,
no one had the answer.
Yeah,
Are you wearing a Sharks jumper, Glennie?
No, we've had this discussion. Thank you very much.
Oh, what is it?
It's Lions touch football.
Nice.
Okay, so gold's 300.
Oh, fucking hell. Is it on 300?
Then they got silver 200, bronze 100.
Jesus.
And then if you've got a red one, it represents 300 across your career. So, for example, Cooper Cronk, who didn't play 300 at the Roosters,
Okay.
but played 300 and was at the Roosters.
So what does
for
he?
the last bit?
What did he get?
Red.
Red. Oh, there you go.
And then so
Nothing like a red cock.
Fuck yeah.
yeah. So I guess so like Minicello, he would have the gold one. Ricketson, he'd have one. I mean, I think there's very few else that would. Letters would have one now.
Yep.
Because he's just cracked it.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I guess Manu's.
Yeah.
It says Manu's played 160,
Bradley?
had 163 appearances.
Yeah, see, well, that's yeah. Well, he hasn't got he shouldn't have the gold one then.
So someone said
Maybe he's probably got the bronze one.
bronze and it looks gold.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Radley? Radley wouldn't even have 300.
Radley has played like 10 games and been signed for fucking 11 of them. he should get like some like a red mist.
This will segue nicely into something you put in the chat today. Jordan said, "Is it just me, or is it absolute rugby league irony that two drug cheats are marking each other?"
Oh, and yeah, and someone put it in a group chat, and it had the thing with Bronson Cherry. You know how when you got the team list Tuesday, and on the club's website, and they list the players that have been named in the team that week, and then
each position is sponsored.
Their position, and each position has they've got a sponsor, like a personal sort of sponsor. And someone put it in a group chat today, and I was like, I don't fucking believe it, so I'm going to go and look for myself. So I went to the Bulldogs website for their team list for round 6 coming up, and sure as shit, in the number 4 jersey, Bronson Jerry, his sponsor, Juice Lab and Co. Bankstown.
No way.
I mean,
fuck.
Jacob Carraz has got Penny's crispy pork crackling. Couldn't they have just fucking swapped those?
Just fucking hell. Nah, I want the number 4.
Yeah, Sydney City Building Group or fucking Defiant Digital or one of the other ones they had on there. Could they not?
Jesus Christ. And there was a bit of a theme around that, Glenn. He said, "Who the hell would have thought this would have turned into the Royds Bench Cup?"
Yep.
Dev, he said, "Kurt Mann heard everything Glenn's been saying about him before he sent Jennings into the goalpost." Riggs, I really didn't think we could get more rugby league chaos in the second half. This game just keeps on giving. Matthew, I'm not excusing the second half from Dogs, but Patola, Hughes and Katuga had limited minutes coming into that match. Having those big bodies probably helped us nearly burnt us in the second half. I like them all, but they'll need more minutes in the top grade to develop. And then the objectification of the week came from Claire, who said, "Dom Young, torn jersey walk-off .gif. Thanks in advance." There you go. So she finds fucking violent assaults and it's butter in the undies. There we go.
The Newcastle Knights 30 defeated the St George Illawarra Dragons 10 in Newcastle, and in the downpour.
Horrible conditions.
This game really the only thing about this game, it just reminded me of fucking like lunchtime in like high school, where it was like pissing down rain. My high school had a creek that ran behind it, and so anytime it flooded, anytime anyone in Brisbane knows, Kedron Brook's the first thing to fucking go under. And so we'd always, at the ovals, would just always have like that level of fucking water in them when it was really pissing down for a couple of days. And so you'd be out there playing footy, and it just reminded me exactly of those sorts of things.
Yep.
And Dragons were just not fucking intelligent enough to try and play. Like the Knights putting through the short little grubbers and then diving on them, 5 metres out and sliding through a wave and catching a wave into the in-goal to score a try and shit like that. And they adapted to the conditions.
Yeah, I think...
Or played to the conditions.
I think Lomax... obviously playing for another contract somewhere else. He had some nice touches in the first half, but as the game wore on, the disparity in the class between the two sides and Newcastle's willingness, as you say, to adapt to pretty fucking horrible conditions, as opposed to the Dragons just really not changing things up to suit the way the game needed to be played. I think that, basically told the story of the game. I want also mention Jackson Hastings. He got dropped. The media tried to jump all over it and paint him, in the same light that they have throughout his career, and he's probably earned most of that in the early days. But I think he had a really professional and efficient return after being dropped. And I know some of his gaming, his kicking game and stuff, some of that was nullified given the conditions, as we say, that they were playing in. But can't hate on the way he's responded to that. And I would imagine that's exactly what O'Brien was looking for from him. And you can't ask for much more. He cops a rap, and like I say, earlier in his career, he probably deserved it by his own admission. But his time at the Tigers, I couldn't fault him. And what he's doing at the Knights, and it hasn't always been smooth sailing, obviously. The way he's responded, I think he deserves a rap for it. And unfortunately, the media likes to jump all over it still. But he's an important part of that Knights team.
Mate, the difference he made in that squad was instant and massive. Just the control he takes to the side, that everywhere around the ball attitude he has, the what can I do when the ball's not in my hand on this play? He's one of those halves. He's always backing up. He's always around ready for an offload. I have no idea why he, out of anyone, was dropped in that night squad, and he showed why.
I think it's one of those.
AOB's a shit coach.
Correct. Sorry,
and he's on the.
I know exactly why he was dropped in there.
He was saved by a run at the end of last season.
Yeah,
but if you can't tell, if you're looking between Tyson Gamble and Jackson Hastings and trying to figure out where the problem is, and the only way you actually figure it out is by getting it wrong, getting a 50-50 question wrong, and then having to fucking redo the opposite way the next week to find out. Yeah,
exactly. To the Dragons, and I know it was wet weather football. The Dragons completed at 65% in that game. And to your point, Glennie, if it's fucking raining and you start dropping the ball, do different shit so you don't keep dropping the ball.
You should make that Ben Hunt, that try off Lomax. I mean, considering the fucking weather, that was one of those ridiculous fucking passes of all time. But
fucking hell.
Fuck 'em.
Isaac, that was a good fun game. Love swamp footy. Kick it into the in-goal puddle. Jump on it. There you go.
Yep, that's it. Good shit.
Ash. Oh, here we are. That pass from Lomax was better than Benji's.
Well, but
not fucking hard. It's the most overrated pass in the history of the game.
There's been like 10 better than that anyway since 2005 anyway.
The heart is full of hate, Nathan.
What
about the other one?
I suppose if a fucking
expect that from him.
If a kid with cerebral palsy did a shit cartwheel, you'd be very impressed by it.
This is where we're going, righto.
So, Bailey said this game's wetter than your mum, especially to anyone whose mum is their dad. Lando, Knights played to the conditions much better. The ref did us no favours. Laurie should go to reserve grade until Flano can give him a course of the Gallon medicine. Medically retire Bird. There's a direct correlation between Hunt kicking straight to a fullback all night and us getting pumped. There you go.
I see there was talk that Ben Hunt was ready to turn around and re-up.
I saw a few comments going, all we needed to do was get rid of Lomax. Love it.
Well, I mean, they did like the release or telling him that he could explore his options at the end of the season. I mean, it coincided exactly with when it's like, yeah, okay, I'll stay.
Well, haven't we spoken about that on this show? That
I know the Flano chest surgeons as well. They all fucking like.
Well, no, the Flano went up to he's got to know where he stands because Flano's gone up to him. He wanted to play fullback or something like that, and Flano's gotten all of these key stats out and gone to him and gone. Yeah,
he wants to play centre, and he said, and he's come up to him and said, yeah, you're like the 32nd best centre in the comp or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So but next game,
there's no way back from that.
No, there's not. Well, even if it's
true.
But they're fucking... This is what I don't fucking get. The amount of times you hear that rugby league players, like, you know, and I'm sure there's something in whatever the fucking mysterious clauses are with old mate at your club or with Lomax there. If I've done something, like any time in my career, if I went to somebody and said, hey, I want this project or I want to be involved in this, and they went, yeah, nah, you haven't done this, 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 and this. Fucking thank you. You've just given me a checklist of everything I need to go and fucking do.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's fucking go. If I'm Lomax, I'm going directly to him and going, hey, can you please go through those again? And I'm going to write down every fucking stat line that you're measuring to put me against other centres.
Yeah.
And then I'm working my balls off in
David
fucking
Muffin
order.
Myself and just get a junk time. Everything. Just fucking accumulate all my stats in junk time. It seemed like he was trying to do that in some of the early games this season, where he would take, like, he'd be the guy that would receive the last tackle kick from the other team.
Yep.
And he'd be the guy running it back every time, and it was like he was getting as many touches as like Brian Toto or something.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it was. He was just stat padding himself.
Not dumb. Not fucking dumb.
For the next review.
There we are. Let's go.
Okay, the Warriors 34 to feed the Rabbitohs 4 in their own fucking cavernous hole. And this one-way traffic and not a happy side. And and as a result, if the reports are correct, this weekend coming, round 6, will be the final game with JD as their head coach. Win or lose. So, yeah. They do have the look about them of a side where if the coach hasn't lost the dressing room, the coach just can't get them together as a group. Like, the output of Damien Cook, I mean, I don't think he's been terrible. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he's getting dropped one week and dropped the next, back in and then dropped the next week. You got Latrell Mitchell is clearly playing with like that kind of frustration.
Some demons, yeah.
I mean, where it's just like he's just in fight mode, almost like he's trying to get fucking suspended, and successfully as it turns out. Cody's not doing a lot of anything.
He's quiet, and I think this is almost like a new form.
Yeah, Ilias getting dropped, even though he wasn't the problem, clearly.
Well, he can't be the solution anymore now that he's fucking.
Well, no, not now. He's
Jaral Yaoyeed himself in reserve grade.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's Yaoyeed himself. I mean, you can't fucking walk a straight line to this day. Yeah, I mean, he's probably the most fucked up that any guy's ever been, ever in the history of the game. But,
he's
well, except for a notable fucking exception out of Newcastle, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you can't walk.
He can't walk a straight line either.
Is that not straight? He got invited to a Diddy party.
No. Yeah. Topical.
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers on the pulse.
His ankle was the guest of honor at a fucking Bad Boy Records release party. But yeah, no. Ilias, for those who didn't see, Ilias in Reggie's put up a kick on the last tackle, and Freddie Lussick on the other side.
Like the last play of the game or something.
It did, and like I don't think Freddie Lussick really fucking did anything that wrong. I mean, he didn't like actually charge at the guy's leg. He didn't dive at his leg or anything like that. It was the standard thing, kind of just running through after a kick's put up. But Ilias did have he had his leg up there for quite a while, and just the way it bounced off Lussick, and then he sort of did a pirouette and it bounced off like his own guy or someone on the other side. It didn't look fucking good at all, and he's out for a decent amount of time. As a result,
yeah,
and so he's not going to be the solution.
Look, so obviously the main topic on this one are going to be the fucking Rabbits and what a shit show they are.
Yep.
But fuck me, the Warriors, like that try they scored, where it was Egan that's like he's dummied twice, he's dummied once, gone through, dummied again to the other side,
and then sent it,
then linked up with Johnson, who has then linked up with Tamari Martin.
Yep.
That is potentially a premiership winning spine. Like that was absolute fucking rugby league sex.
Yeah, and the thing with the Warriors is just it's amazing how critical Wade Egan is to that side. I mean, I said earlier,
isn't it
there was
just?
that game against the Sharks
Yep.
when they were sort of out to like 14-0 after 10 minutes or something, and then he was off, and then that was that. Then then the Sharks come back and they didn't fire another shot.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
Like he is like the MVP of that side.
I think
undoubtedly.
they're a great comparison. And while Damien Cook hasn't been bad, I don't think he's not playing with any confidence. And the difference is when Wade Egan picks that ball up, he already has an understanding. As he's in dummy half, he has an understanding of what the next play is going to be. And he can adjust himself on the fly if the situation presents itself. I feel that Damien Cook's nervous and he's picking that ball up and there is a hesitancy to him where he's scared of making a wrong choice. He's not that run first Cook. He's not that up 2 first steps to put the defensive line in one direction and then cut it back the other way, Damien Cook. There's a hesitancy about the way he's been playing, and it was such fucking stark contrast with how Wade Egan ran that team around. But to have Tamari Martin and Sean Johnson running the football and scoring tries, there's that thing again. When a player is a multifaceted threat when they have the ball, that's fucking crucial. And the Warriors have 2 of them in the halves this season.
Yep. And Rabbit's absolute fucking shit show.
Yeah. That much we can agree on.
Can a changing coach turn them around?
I think the coach will, the coach will be the guy that goes, and he'll be the scapegoat. But he can't shoulder all of the blame. Like Cody Walker's barely been cited all season so far.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cook's form is well down. Latrell is a time bomb. They've as you just said, the issues with the halves now, they're completely fucked.
Yep.
Well, they're stuck with what they've got now. That's it. Yeah.
I will say though,
there's no bringing the list back.
Their forwards seem to be, and I understand it's a sport where those big name players are subject to much higher expectations, but the argument could be made that their forwards aren't doing much of a job. And they
dropped Sean Kepi in the season where he was going to cement his New South Wales Origin spot too.
It makes it hard to play Origin if you're playing Reggies. That's all I'm saying.
And for the team that's dead fucking last on the ladder as well.
Well, also, you look at that. Latrell's gotten himself suspended for 3 matches.
Yes.
And they're going to play Cronulla, the Storm, and the Panthers.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
and they're games that they weren't going to fucking win anyway. I mean, based on the evidence at hand.
Yeah,
but now,
but
even more so.
If there was going to be, fuck yeah, let's turn it around. And there have been plenty of cases where teams have turned things around and gone on to slay giants that they shouldn't have beaten, and that gets their season back on track.
Yeah.
Now, they don't even have the opportunity to do that. This brings me back, though. There's been a lot of talk this week about Wayne Bennett, in that he may be somewhat of a poison chalice, in that because he is so good at managing players, it may mean that there are some gaps in what he passes on to attendance. Did you see the article that Corey Parker wrote about how when Wayne left?
I did not.
Essentially, he was saying that the reason that Wayne was so successful at Brisbane was that he managed some absolutely massive fuck-off egos.
Yes.
And did it in such a fashion that he could direct them all in one way and
to a common goal.
That's it. He could have them all with a high level of accountability in the team. And it happened after Wayne left that Henjack was very different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened now at Souths. They were almost at the pinnacle of the sport. They'd made the grand final.
Yeah.
Is that too much of a risk to have Wayne at your club if he's not passing that skill along to his assistants? Is it almost more important that he trains someone else rather than gets your team success?
Yeah, look, I don't think anyone's complaining if they actually get the success. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the Dragons are complaining that they got left in a fucking ditch because they got that.
They got their ring. That's it.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Newcastle and South have probably got more room to have something to say.
Newcastle particularly, because I mean that was just a big, that was a cash grab on, Tinkler's dollar.
Yep.
And the rest of it. So absolute shit show. But yeah,
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, look, it's possible, but I mean, coaching succession happens, and coaches have their unique attributes that they bring to the table, and if that's Wayne's, I mean, some things aren't necessarily transferable and teachable, especially like that, because it's kind of a personality sort of, first and foremost too.
Yeah.
It's like who he is to start with, and I mean, I'm sure there's some strategy behind it that he employs.
I don't know, and maybe that's that culture that a coach's job.
But imagine if he's just like naturally, like he was just like an Avatar. Like,
what is it?
He was just naturally born as a cunt bender. Like and like try as you might.
Actually,
I mean, maybe he's like the Avatar because he's also a gilf bender. I mean, so he's got multiple skills.
No, he's a gilf spreader.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the desk at the fucking Newcastle League's got to fucking work over.
Can you imagine the opening credits? Gilfs, Knights fans, Darius. I have bent them all over.
Save us, Wayne.
Or is that he goes yip yip and Darius shows up so he can jump on his back?
Yeah, definitely him or Milford, sure.
Or
Milford's a little fucking
Cody Nicarima's a little Momo. Fucking hell. Steve, every week confirms Sam Burgess was right. You can't let the lunatics run the asylum. I can't dispute that, hey.
I don't actually know what he said.
The issue that Sam Burgess had was that he said that there were players who were getting special treatment because they were rep stars, who weren't expected to do as much in training, who could essentially, call their own shots, I guess, when it came to certain things that they did or didn't do.
Yep.
And Sam Burgess, for taking nothing from his personal life, just purely talking about him on a football field.
Yep.
He seemed firmly to me like the sort of guy that was, well, fuck you, I'll lead from the front. Yeah. No one can complain about how hard training is because I'm in there and I'm doing it fucking easy.
Yeah.
So he
that's a different way of approaching things. Maybe that is the Wayne issue because I mean, Wayne's famously done that with players in the past, like in the golden age for the Broncos when they didn't fucking choke their premierships away. He'd have Gordon Tallis and he'd fucking hammer him at training because that's what he had to do. But he'd have like Alfie could just rock up and do whatever the fuck he wanted because he knew that no matter what, on game day, Alfie would be fucking he'd be there and he'd be doing what he wanted him to do.
Fucking hell. This is a comment, Levi. They were never going to lose on Rogers' 200th. Jai Arrow has a better control of his dogs than JD has of this team.
Look, ain't no lie.
Fucking hell. Thomas, this is why I said our one chance at 2 points before the Dragons was last week. Good that Mitchell pulled out his effort game for the Dogs. Yes. Fucking hell. Mark, credit to SJ. He could have milked the penalty, but Latrell has to go close to the biggest grub in the league. I was so fucking disappointed with that. Like, for all the pressure that's been on him, to react like that is disappointing.
It's hard to defend.
And, and I'll say again, I am a fucking Latrell truther. And I am sad for not only the season he could have had, but for the myriad of reasons that he's not having it. And it's not just related to Souths. So, anyway, Next game.
Mighty Manly Seabs Eagles 32 defeat the Penrith Panthers 18 at TWiL Oval. Of course, a memorable game with Daly Cherry Evans becoming the non-combined highest number of games for the Mighty Sea Eagles, and also the newest Trbojevic, Corey Waddell, getting his 100th game, which kind of went under the radar a little bit in the whole, obviously the fanfare, much deserved from Daly.
Mainly because no one cared.
Well, I mean, I was calling him Dowry Waddell because I mean it seems like he came across this year just when Jakey was proposing to his sister. and so he was basically just like, okay, get Corey across for a job on your Jakey, get him across, and I'll fucking and we'll get married. But now, I mean, now he's into family. He can officially rise as Corey Travojevic, and he certainly earned his name in this game as well. It's surprisingly, much to my surprise, considering he's on barely train and trial. I mean, we've already got value for money out of the guy, but this game, this is like the worst beating that the Panthers have taken, not on the scoreboard, but like just in its entirety since probably the first half of the 2020 grand final that they almost came back to win or at least make it a contest. And I mean, like other para fans will say, oh, hey, what about when we did fucking they had a cunt send off when you fucking beat them cunts, so fucking grow up. This was 13 on 13. Fucking so go back to counting years. You haven't won a fucking premiership, you fucking gutho junkies. Ivan tactically exposed and outcoached for the first time I can remember in ages as well. Like starting Fish from the bench. I know he's coming back, and through the bench might have been, but like I just don't know if he thought he saw teams expose like the lack of size and everything in the bench that Manly had, and just give him an easier sort of entree back into the football.
My mail on that was that Fish wasn't 100%.
Because he got fucking drilled in a way that I've never seen him get drilled.
That's it. He probably could have done another week, or maybe should have done another week.
That's the thing. I mean, because that was the story with Nathan I heard as well. I mean, like, why not fucking just do it? I mean, Dane Laurie in 14 as well. Like we questioned the signing of him and like outside of potential use in Origin and stuff, but to throw him into like the 14, I think that's when the game got out of reach when he was on the field.
Yep, you're right.
And I looked at the stats because it felt like he was getting trampled a lot, but he must have just been doing ineffective tackles and not straight up missed tackles, because I think the stats said he had 0 missed tackles. I couldn't fucking believe my eyes because it felt like they were just running through him and over him at will in that sort of period, like sort of 20 minutes.
It's one of those deceptive stats, and it's exactly what you said there. It through and over.
Yeah,
and it's not even and again, it's another Penrith example, but the old James Maloney missed tackles. Where a James Maloney missed tackle
a speed bump
is worth more than a Dane Laurie made tackle. Because in a Dane Laurie made tackle, they get their front. Very often there's going to be no one else around, and they're up and it's a quick play of the ball, and there's one or no markers there. Or whoever gets there is fucking so obviously offside that they get called for it. Again, Manly are always going to be hard to beat, especially in a milestone game. If there is one thing Manly can do, it's to get up for a milestone. They were coming off the worst game that they've played in years for two of their absolute superstars, and an out of character one for Tommy. Like if you went through and listed 100 features of Tommy, rocks and diamonds would not be in there. It's not like one out of 10 games he's going to be there. That and the fact Fish came back a little bit undercooked. And you're right. Laurie, I think, Laurie's mission is to be maybe a 6 coverage, maybe, but I think at best it's coverage on the bench for an outside back.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were trying to sort of make him be like Dylan Walker, the Warriors.
Yeah, or Tyrone
that
Peachey,
kind of thing.
But
well, surely he's better than that. But fucking
Premiership
Nathan Brown,
winner Tyrone Peachey. You put some respect on his name.
I mean, Nathan Brown, fucking train and trial, like the absolute best game of his career, and one of like the best Mad Men fucking games I've seen from a forward.
No, don't fall into that trap. He
if
does that
not
shit
ever.
Where he does this giant big fucking run-in tackle, and then
he took 5 kickoffs in the game,
but then he misses the tackle. And then he does nothing but fucking air grabs at cunts running up to him for the next 3 minutes. Don't drink the fucking Nathan Brown Kool-Aid.
I'm telling you, I mean, it's famous. Fish famously said, the posting that Para are his fucking sons. But I mean, we go to ancestry.com on the weekend, and we've added another fucking branch on the family tree above Fish, and we found out where his fucking father is, Nathan Brown. I mean, he took 5 kickoffs and got a penalty the first 4 times in a row, just by smashing him, get up to play the ball. And he would have got one the 5th time too if Isaiah Yeo had been a fucking millisecond longer.
That's the other thing.
Right on the edge.
A penalty count of 11-3. Absolutely shocking. For Penrith to have 13 handling errors compounded with 11 penalties, that's the bit that's out of character for them. It didn't allow
The
them
Nathan Brown effect.
No.
The Nathan Brown effect. He fucking had him terrified. He had him fucking not being able to get off the tackles.
I'll tell you know what?
I tell you, when it's a training trial, that is the best fucking ROI we'll ever see on a training trial. Fucking, he's already made his money in one fucking game.
You know
Was
what?
that fucking great?
Like me, after the Magic round, where I ate nothing but Fat Belly Jacks for 3 days straight, of the fucking spiciest chicken in Australia, you fucking live by the brown, you will die by the brown.
Oh, that's right. And that was the most pleasing thing about it. He ran like a madman, tackled like a madman, but somehow he didn't get penalised for anything. He didn't go high. He didn't who knows? Maybe the formula has been discovered. I think he's in doubt this week because he's been named, but I think he's in doubt because I think he injured himself. He was fucking, and it was funny. Like people were saying, oh, he's run, the whole phrase like he's coming off the back fence. And then I saw a video of people on the ground who were actually like, no, he actually was. Like, he was literally starting at the back fence and getting the fucking run up all the way through the in goal. It was amazing. And this game kind of like set up in the first 5 minutes. It set up exactly the same way as the Broncos and Eels games for the Panthers, with a key player getting knocked out and forcing like a positional shuffle. And with the Eels and the Broncos, that's when the Panthers won the game. They just fucking like exploited the fucking, the shuffle, and especially with the Parramatta one where like, Eels were actually, close to, on top or close to it. And then they had to deal with like, Kelma Tuolangi out in the fucking centres or whatever. And I mean, he can't even tackle in the back row. And then there was like 6 line breaks through him and Morgan Harper from Isaac Tungo. This time though, I mean, I think Ben Trebojevic with a bigger body, I mean, he fucking owned Taylor May. Taylor May did nothing in the game, and he contained Toa pretty well as well. And Toa was trying to, like, he was actually running at him on his,
But that's the thing, though.
And he just stopped him
all
dead,
of Penrith's successes in those games were based on continuity of attack and completely dominating the territorial game, which you can't do with 13 handling errors and 11 penalties.
And like, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Jackson Paulo, like, he is so fucking submissive in everything that he does on a rugby league field. I'm surprised he doesn't wear a ball gag as a mouth guard.
Fuck.
That's it, like, but he did score the easiest try ever, thanks to the from fucking Burbo as well, which was a wonderful catch and pass.
I've got hammers for you. You'll love this one. He said Manly's win can be 100% attributed to the most handsome coach in the NRL.
You're damn straight.
And if anybody hasn't seen it, get into our Facebook group, and you're looking for our mate Matt College, who is the fucking
doppelganger of Steve's
DNA cloning fucking experiment of Anthony's, or vice versa. Who am I to say he didn't come first?
I'll do a comparison thing. I'll drop it in the group.
Jesus fucking Christ. Here you go. This one. You've gone in on the Nathan Brown. Old Ryan's gargling the balls. Early days, but Nathan Brown is giving me Ben Kennedy vibes.
Oh,
there you go. There we go.
Don't you dare, Nathan. Don't you dare, Nathan.
What Ben Kennedy did for a young Anthony Watmoe at the time when he first came in, I mean, you just need like a guy that shows them the way. And this game was also Toff Sipley's best game. I mean, that was where the game was won, when those two came on after the first change. And Sipley had his best game ever, and he was looking dominant and trampling as well. And then after having a really shit first stint, then when Paseka came on, then he started running over top of cunts as well, and had like, a decent run through the centres. So yeah, you need that cunt to sort of show the young guys, the way. Then yeah, fuck yeah.
There you go.
I see it.
There you go.
So have you finished? Do you tell me when you finish the comments? Because we've got a special guest.
We're done.
Guest on the show tonight.
Go for it.
We're done. Okay, so someone who has asked if he remain anonymous has sent something for your birthday, and so I'm just going to throw it in the chat, and so you can watch it while we're on the air, and I'll actually I'll copy the audio and throw it into the episode so it's seamless for the peeps.
Hang on, text it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I sent it through the Skype thing. Hang on a minute. I'll text it to you. I'll put in the TWiL text group. There you go. Just sent it. And so it's a little bit of a
actually, no, you're right, because the sound will come through the microphone and spoil it.
Yeah. So I was going to name the person, but they sent an email to me sort of just after I'd replied to them, and they said, don't keep it anonymous. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Hey mate, it's Tommy Turbo here, and I've got a message on behalf of your older, bolder, and fatter son. To Stepdad, the dad who stepped up, I'd just like to wish you a happy birthday and all the best on your special day. It's guys like you who helped us get the win against Penrith the other night, and we couldn't do it without your love and support.
Oh, how
Go
fucking
Manly.
good is that?
All the best, mate. Really appreciate your support. Go the Eagles.
Oh, it's great.
And I'll put the audio on here. I'll chuck it in the group.
Wow.
Special guest appearance for Stepdad's birthday.
Oh, fantastic. How good.
The Dolphins 26 defeat the West Tigers 16 at Suncorp Stadium in Finland. Those Dwayne Bennett ads are so fucking annoying.
Oh, I know.
Push the cunt off the roof of fucking Suncorp at the end of that ad. Glennie, did you make your way down for this game?
No, I didn't.
I fucking knew it. I knew you'd fucking bail on it.
Yeah, you're right.
You
I did.
shit fan.
Yeah,
You
go fuck
shit.
yourself.
Look, I did many times on the weekend. Didn't you see the fucking game we just spoke about?
No, unfortunately, I didn't make it down. I still, very proud of the fact that they've shown some development and some growth from where they've been for the last several years, and in those years, and certainly the past couple, the way this match went, it would have been a 30, 40, 50-point drubbing. The way the Tigers started, they've been very, very guilty on many occasions of just dropping their bundle and capitulating.
Yep.
I think that's probably a testament to how the team, ironically in a loss, but how the team is responding to Benji's coaching so far this season. They fought their way back into it. They still had a couple of defensive lapses, which ultimately was the difference in the game, but couldn't fault their effort. They fought all the way to the end. They were still in it with less than 10 to go, and you can't win them all, and I'm pretty happy with how they've responded to the poor start and worked their way to grind their way to having a chance at winning. They didn't quite get there, and I think the Dolphins were up for it. The hammer was great.
Wasn't he
Katoa as well. I wasn't sold on him as a 7.
He was a fucking standout in that game.
His kicking game in particular was outstanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a good game, and I was happy with what the Tigers put out. But Dolphins on the night, too good.
When you talk about a footy player, though, you talk about a 7 to come in, and you have guys who make their debuts on the wing or in the forward pack or at hooker or whatever it is, and they can keep things relatively simple. They can, my first contact's got to be good. I've got to remember my technique. It's got to be big hits, wrap, drive. Don't let him on the outside of me. Blah, 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 whatever it is. For that kid to come in and start his career as a 7 and to have a breakout game like that, where he controlled that game as well as any other half in the league would, as long as he can get a little bit of consistency in that, he is a fucking find for the Dolphins. And it sort of gives me hope that, because I get a bit fucking scared for the future as cunts that are coming into the twilight of their fucking, on the downward spiral. Just like with music now, and you're like, well, who's going to be the fucking classic bands in 30 years' time? You start to think, who's the next crop of great 7s? Like Nathan came out of nowhere. He had some expectation on him, but he's exceeded that expectation. Who else, though? You've got your Cronks are gone, Thurston's gone, so now you've got Nathan. Really, who else have you got? But for
obviously Daly for about 3 more years, maybe.
He was never Cronk or Thurston level, and he's not Cleary level.
Oh, I mean, he's done more. He's done more.
No. I'm talking about the next gen. Like who's coming up? Who's coming up? You know,
Yeah.
like Hughes is a fucking fantastic job, and he's unsung, like we've already spoken about.
Yeah, but also he's been around for a long fucking
Exactly.
time too. Like he's been around
You know?
for ages. I mean, like the ones you're talking about that age. I mean, obviously, like Katoa's like brand new.
Exactly.
You know, really.
Exactly.
I mean, Dearden's got a little bit of, you know, he's got a little bit of you know, kilometers under him.
Yep.
But he's still very young though.
Yeah.
And, you know, very new.
Yeah. Johnson's at the end. Fucking, you know, no, he had an outstanding fucking game. He was great.
Yeah. And I agree with what you said, Glennie. I think it was like they were like beaten but not disgraced.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like the old Tigers that, and maybe it's because the Dolphins aren't really the team to blow someone off the face of the earth either. But yeah, the Titans definitely could have. Sorry, the Tigers definitely could have capitulated.
Yeah.
And didn't. You got socials on that one?
Yes, I do. Oh, wouldn't you know? There's fucking Glennie as the first comment. No. Tim, lucky Bateman got an HIA, or the Finns would have run 50 through him. Glennie, what do you think of Bateman? Because look, he's one of those ones I look at and I'm like, fuck, I am glad you are not on my team. Because you're all fucking puff and anger and you're absolutely fucking useless.
Oh, look, needless to say, I disagree. Had a conversation with...
How strongly do you disagree?
Is it you actually disagree or only because you have to?
No. I think... And I had a discussion with the Hollywood elite knob twiddler, which was a far more interesting conversation than what Stepdad and the same individual had the week prior about fucking comic books or some fucking nerdy thing. But anyway, he said...
Glennie making fun of people that can read. Oh, shock.
Or read pictures. Look, you need someone with a bit of cunt in their game. And I don't know that the Tigers have had much of that over the last several years.
If you want someone with cunt in their
you had
game...
a hooker that's probably in your Hall of Fame that's probably the biggest cunt you've ever seen.
Oh, you beat me to it. Because you had the biggest cunt in the game.
Guys, I'm trying to, you know, this is the longest running rugby league podcast in history of the universe. And I'm trying to keep it professional, and you guys are just bringing the standard down. And quite frankly, it's disappointing.
But that's exactly my point, Glennie. Like someone like Clem, you know, he's the guy that will get in there and get involved in the fucking rough and tumble and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's a fire and brimstone kind of guy. Bateman is not that.
Bateman's the cunt that wants to talk a big game and act all tough, but then make Aaron Woods-esque fucking air swings at people when they run through him. That's my issue with him.
Yeah, I don't know that that's habitual. He had defensively a couple of unhappy moments. That's not a question. I can answer whatever question you want to throw at me about what he brings to the team and defensively.
I
and
appreciate
offensively.
he had a big off season and he doesn't quite like hurt your eyes like looking into like directly at the sun. But
explain his melanin ratio, Glennie.
He's still got a translucent quality to him.
Well, hang on. Is that why Glennie likes him so? Is that why he's defending him so firmly?
Oh, he's the right shade, eh?
Oh, Jesus.
He's the right shade for Toowoomba.
Oh, wow.
What colour Band-Aids do you buy? Oh, Toowoomba Spring.
You guys are fantastic. Really appreciate your contributions.
Glennie fucking smashing scooies with him in the fucking in the N-word Brown stand. Just fucking kicking back. Two old ultra white boys.
Bethany, he said this was Katoa's breakout game.
Podcast.
He showed glimpses of it last year, but this year he's really taken control as a genuine number 7. Kicking game was top tier. He's not afraid of contact. And I think that is the first time I've ever seen her comment on not a Storm game. So well done for branching out, Bethany. You will find much more enjoyable rugby league rather than watching Melbourne.
Wow. And thank you for commenting on the Tigers game.
Lovely. David, Katoa is a fucking genius. Kicking game was on the money tonight. Dolphins did the right thing, locking him down to 2028. Fucking well done. There we go.
All right. The Cowboys 35 defeat the Titans 22 up at the Abattoir in Townsville. What do you make of this one, Glennie?
I think in the end,
you won't be first coach, you'll be second coach, running because JD's gone essentially.
True.
So,
but I think the Cowboys probably would have liked to have their defence be a little tighter as the game wound down.
Yeah, I mean they much like the Tigers game. I mean they had it kind of won at half time.
Definitely.
And
giving up 22 points to the Titans is not a sign of a team that has the aspirations that the Cowboys do.
Yeah.
Regardless of where the scoreline was, yes, the game was already won, but you know the best sides have those standards where you keep the line and keep that same defensive mindset till the final whistle. So I think that's, if there's something to work on from the game for the Cowboys' perspective, Lord knows there's plenty to work on from the Titans' perspective, but I think Peyton will have them, you know, shoring up the defensive line and keeping that focus, more importantly, to not only go on with it, but not bleed 22 points to a team like the Titans.
And it's a bit of a theme actually for the Cowboys though too. I mean, you know, they almost fell behind that, you know, to a match losing deficit to the Dragons. You know, but for, you know, Raymond Fatala-Mariner dropping the ball, and they could have been down 24-6 in that game too. They came back to ultimately win. So yeah,
but I'll tell you, it is interesting. The Titans are starting to get that Des Hasler, Canterbury Bankstown sort of vibe about them. So if you look at this game, it's one of those ones where almost everything down the stat sheet suggests that the Titans should have won this game except the scoreboard. Like they completed it 83% to 70. You show me any other game in the NRL, except maybe the Tigers, where the possession can be 70.
How did we get dropped by?
Do you still shit, Glennie? You've won 2 games. Where completion can work out like that, 70% to 83.
Weeks, you fuckhead.
Oh my god, that was fucking.
That's the most ringing endorsement of Benji's era that we've had so far. Like he's actually like he believes and he seriously believes and he will not fucking have your shit.
But yeah, again, look at Penrith. 11 penalties and fucking 13 handling errors. The Titans had 6 handling errors and conceded 5 penalties. You'd look at that and say that's a stellar control of the game.
You'd look at that and say the Titans are, 3-time defending premiers.
The Titans need a halfback. That's what it meant.
And exactly, there's all of that non-quantifiable stuff about the actual style of football they were playing and the risks they were taking. But to be ahead on almost every stat on the sheet and lose 35-22, I'm scared. I'm terrified of that if I'm a Titans fan, because that was Dez's reign at Canterbury. Good quality, good completion football, unable to win games and score points.
The only thing that they can look forward to potentially is that it was also like Dean Pay's reign at the Dogs.
Yeah.
And Cameron Ciraldo's reign at the Dogs. Trent Barrett's reign at the Dogs. I started
the high completion was exclusively Des. That actually went downhill with the other guys.
That's quite a Freudian slip there that you mistook Des for dead.
Oh God, Stephen, you called this the Who Gives a Fuck Up. There you go.
Yeah, agreed.
Ross, how bad would the Titans be without Brimson? In defence, he is everywhere. What position, if you get the Titans job tomorrow, after you get talked down from the roof, where do you play Jorge Brimson, Glennie?
6.
Mate?
In our current lineup, 6.
Yeah.
Only because there's also that additional consideration that you probably need to find a place for Campbell and fullback's the position for him.
Yeah, that's it.
He's probably a victim of his versatility in some ways, because I'd say he'd prefer one.
I'm not putting him in fucking centre though. I'm not putting him in centre under any circumstances.
Exactly.
6 or 14. That's
again.
Where
it's that thing. It's like putting Tommy in the centres in Origin.
Yeah, guess what? That's going to happen again.
One of those things is not like the other, though.
Well, he's probably a better fullback than Teddy is, given current form over the last couple of seasons.
Jesus
However,
Christ.
he's also a better centre than Teddy is. Are you fucking seriously sitting there and saying that if you were a selector, you and a fit Turbo, not biscuited, that a fit Turbo is not a better fullback selection than Teddy over the last couple of seasons?
Sorry, misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you were saying Brimson is a better fullback than Tommy Turbo. And
No, come on now.
I
I mean, he said some cooked shit, but that would be the absolute fucking...
that's why I was
Mount
having an
Everest of cooked
aneurysm, you cunts. It's like, what the fuck?
That's
Is
take all
this
your
cunt
cash out of
on?
your bank level, Glennie. Come on.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
That's literally the type of thing you say in the queue at the ATM to someone else.
Look, I'd like to say
Just so
that
they
I
take
should
a-
pay
they
more
take a
attention
step
when Jay
back.
speaks, but
I don't want to fucking take your money.
but
Oh, lovely.
then
What
there's
are we
the
on?
times
Last
where
game.
Jay speaks.
Last game.
Yeah. Is there any socials on that one, or were you done the socials there?
I think I
Finished? right.
said some. I don't know.
Okay, cool. The Raiders 41 defeat the Eels 8 in Canberra, and this one was quite enjoyable, if I do say so myself.
Your heart is full of hate, Nathan.
So yes, I have heard that several times.
This
That's going to be
evening.
the episode title. So much so.
Look, I want to give the Raiders a little bit of credit. They were absolutely on fire, and Xavier Savage and Timoko were very impressive. I will say, and Ricky doesn't get much of a rap on this show, and deservedly so, but he has said that, Savage, he wasn't playing Savage in first grade because he needs to learn how to be a first grader.
Yep.
He was also critical of him recently.
Can I just point... that's come up so many fucking times. How else do you learn to be a first grader?
I get it. I agree.
It's like saying,
But-
look, I'm sure Jackson's... When does he get his... Has he got his license?
No,
Does he go for his
September.
test? It's like saying,
He
well,
gets
okay,
his P's in September.
so Jackson, you need to learn to drive a car, so I want you to go and ride that push bike. Like, that is the
Yeah.
fucking Ricky Stewart master plan here.
I agree, but
How does this cunt stay employed?
he's also gone against his own grain by leaving Savage there. And you look at
Especially after he pretty much lost in the game
exactly
last week, wasn't it?
and he could have dropped him again, and that probably sets the kid back. However long, a season, 2 seasons, whatever.
Yeah.
He was good, and he's got a way to go. There's some elements to his game that are green and raw, and that's to be expected. But fucking impressive performance and an impressive bounce back.
Yeah, it was.
And I think, whether it's because he's playing for Canberra or I don't know what the reason is, but Timoko is extremely underrated. Extremely underrated.
Yeah.
Criminally so.
Yeah, and when you see,
Is
when you see him
he
play live, I remember he's
underrated,
playing.
or is he properly rated?
I believe
As in,
underrated.
as in he's up and coming, and he's had some great games, but it's a
There's
small
not,
sample size.
not the hype around him that there should be compared to some of the other players. Like similar
No,
players
hang
at
on.
similar points in their careers.
Yeah, but let's relook at that. There's not the hype around him because he hasn't earned a reason for hype yet. There's fucking a good, genuine, and proper level of optimism. But I, for one, am fucking happy that the hype train's missed him because it does nothing but fuck cunts up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm that guy. The way he runs the ball, he's carried out of his own end, impressive, defensively strong, and he has an impact whenever he carries the ball, no matter where the Raiders are on the field, and that brings another level to Canberra's play that I don't think gets enough credit. From Paris' perspective, they have to be hoping and praying that Moses makes a faster than expected return. They're absolutely rudderless without him, and his absence, in my opinion. I'm not saying Gutho's not trying, but for all the self-proclaimed kingness of Gutho,
Let's remember, during the fucking COVID season, when they all had to come and stay up at the fucking Sunshine Coast, he made his teammates wear T-shirts that said King Gutho. So let's flavour everything we say about that flop with that memory.
so if you've got that sort of rap on yourself and you're an experienced guy, you're looked upon as a leader, you class yourself as a leader and the king of the team, you'd have to be everywhere. You'd have to be doing absolutely everything. I think he does more complaining than he does contributing to, in a positive manner to what the Eels are trying to do. And I know it's a tough run at the moment without Moses, who's so critical to them, but I think Gutho's legacy is taking a hit the way that he's playing without Moses.
Yeah, the thing is, well, like Dylan Brown's not doing jack shit either, and he's the one actually his position on the field to do something about it.
Dylan Brown ain't calling himself fucking king.
No, I mean, he's calling himself he's calling himself the only first grade half in their squad at the moment. And I mean, maybe if they want to put a young guy at fullback and then Gutho can jump into the halves at 6 or something like that, and get to work and get more of the ball in his hands with Brown. But Brown is like, and look, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Gutho. He was particularly fucked in this game as well. Yeah. And did a couple of couple of ridiculous things that made him look like a fucking idiot.
I feel he's been set up to fail. If you look at almost any other club, when one of their halves goes down, they get a replacement for that position. And at some level, your 6 and 7 can be interchangeable in certain clubs or on the field in general. What they do in your team should not be interchangeable. The fact that all of a sudden Moses has gone down and the master stroke is, well, hang on, we'll put Dylan Brown in the 7 and just expect him now to do everything that he doesn't do normally.
Yeah.
Maybe
it says... Sorry, you go.
Well, again, look, and Penrith have shown the blueprint for this. You got to have backup halves, who cover the 7. And it seems easier to have an organiser cover both roles rather than take somebody who maybe isn't a natural organiser or who just doesn't do it every week, so they're not proficient.
So someone who's there for their running game.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about the influence that Moses had and has been allowed to have, which comes from Arthur, over the side. And look, they're playing to their strengths. He's a 7, but the dominant influence that he has when he's in the side, it's a slight on Parrott that they haven't got a legitimate organising 7 as a backup, and I think there's been enough time with the Penrith era, to show, well, this is what, like as you said, this is what you need to have, because you've got Moses go out, so you actually lessen the influence that your 6, being Dylan Brown, can bring to the team by putting him into the 7. So you take that away, and he's not a fucking organiser's arsehole.
Exactly.
So,
and instead of losing your 7, now you've lost your 7, and you've also lost your 6. Yeah. I don't fucking get it.
Poor coaching.
Well, I mean, they've also been sort of strong-armed in this position somewhat because their fans bully the young fucking talented organising half out of the club who happened to be the coach's son. I mean, the cunt was a fucking lock to be there and they still found a way to fucking cyberbully him out of there. So, look, I don't know where that kid went now, but I mean, all the best to him. I hope he turns around and goes to a good club.
How does this happen, though? I seem to see this a lot. That there appear to be coaches in the game, and we've spoken about this last week when we talked about has the game passed Des Hasler by. Where he should have access, and Brad Arthur should have access to what everyone else has done in this situation. And surely there is somebody at Parramatta that he has in an advisory capacity that can say, well, geez, whenever a 7's gone down, this is what people are doing these days, and this is how they're getting around it. Or surely there would be fucking contingencies for your key positions to go down. Tell me you don't have, with everyone in your squad, if there's a season ender to this person, who's next man in? And how is that plan not vetted by outside individuals to say, is this a solid plan or not? Or does Brad Arthur just get to say, this is everything I'm going to do, and this is my little notebook, and I'm taking it home with me, and no one else knows what it is? Who fucking knows?
I don't know. All I know is that Brad Arthur's coached a lot of games at that fucking club, and if you add him and Brian Smith together, they account for the vast majority of the 30-odd years that those cunts haven't won shit. So, fuck them. Continued lack of success.
There you go. John.
And the Tigers broke Parramatta.
A game where Canberra were workmanlike. Halves did their job and silly ball errors kept a minimum. Hats off to the defensive coach who has the Raiders tackling with a purpose. A welcome win at home against an Eels outfit that were starved of good field position. That's a good sum of the game. Who else have we got here? Brendan. Well, forget my comment. I'm sure teams in the bottom half of the 5 to 15 would play each other, but you get my... Oh, actually, yeah, no, you've deleted your other comment, so I don't understand what it is. Jai, I can't remember a Raiders game where Jordan Rapana hasn't had a leg injury. Also, how good is the young half for the Raiders going? Hashtag no diddy. Have you seen that? That's the new phrase.
The new no homo.
Yes, when
Yeah.
when you say positive things about another man.
Yeah.
Anthony, Clint Gutherson is lucky James Tedesco exists to prevent him being the most overrated player to ever play the game. Jesus fucking Christ.
My fucking
Yeah, but Teddy's represented his state and country captain. He's captain, state and country.
premiership winner.
I'm gonna say that he's done a lot of stuff that Gutho hasn't done. So I mean, I don't even think he belongs in that conversation because there was a time there where Teddy was the fucking best at his position, like probably undoubtedly, at a time. I don't think Gutho has been the best at anything, including fucking bitching, because I mean, Reed Marnie and fucking Mitchell Moses exist as well. I mean, and that's the Mount Rushmore of fucking whining bitches on the field.
Not even the best whinger in his team.
No, exactly.
I'll give the last say on this to our old mate Shunter Senior. He said Canberra won because Parramatta was shit. End of story. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
There you go. Job's done, boys.
All right. So we move on to the upcoming round 6. Panthers with the bye. And we start off on Thursday night with the Knights versus the Roosters in Newcastle. For the Knights, Frizzle's out with a hamstring. Not that many changes for them. Big changes, obviously, for the Roosters with Tedesco and Walker out via concussions and won't be back until next week.
Yep.
Lemieux still suspended. A bunch of fucking injuries. Billy Smith, the biggest biscuit in the game, has taken over the reins from Adam Reynolds. And of course, Dom Young is suspended. So, can the Roosters... They're running with Joey Manu at fullback this week.
I'm going to lean towards the Knights. I think the Roosters. Connor Watson is definitely a solid replacement to come into the halves to partner Luke Keary, and Manu's done the job at fullback before. I don't think they lose. Yes, Teddy, but I think Manu is a great replacement there.
Yeah.
Joey Manu would be in my top 10 list of scariest players to play against. Just from and I know he goes quiet and there's some games you don't hear from him, but when he's fucking switched on and involved, freakish level talent.
Yeah. But I think Knights are probably a little more settled, and I don't think they're going too bad at the moment. I think they'll beat the Roosters.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think the Knights are any great shakes at the moment. They still haven't quite got their shit together, but they're at home and they've got a pretty much solidified lineup now, and the Roosters are just fucking chaos.
Yeah,
with players at the moment. So yeah, I think the Knights. Storms take on the Bulldogs. Pub slot game Friday down at the Korean Housewife.
I don't think you can tip the Dogs with a straight face. I think Melbourne win and win handsomely.
Yes.
Your mate, I mean, will this change your opinion that Kurt Mann
dropped or hurt?
Oh Jesus!
Just all I've got in front of me says he's out. Doesn't say but it doesn't list an injury. So
look, it does improve the Dogs.
Maybe your wish came true and he got dropped.
It improves.
He must be hurt though because he's actually not even in the 22 and 23 man squad.
I must admit, I just had to scroll down.
Yeah,
it does improve the Dogs, but not enough to get anywhere near Melbourne. This could get ugly.
There's bloodbath in Melbourne. Bloodbath.
Yeah.
I don't think the Dogs stand a chance. The Broncos take on the Dolphins, Suncorp Stadium. one of these Battle of Brisbanes or whatever they would like to market it as. Broncos, without some players, Reece Walsh is back. They're without Adam Reynolds. How long is he out for? Have they said yet?
I haven't
Nothing
heard.
solid.
Yeah. So Payne Haas's still out. So look, they've got some players out. I mean, Reece Walsh being named, he was supposed to be out a bit longer, wasn't he?
Yep.
I guess if he's named, he's there. So the Dolphins side.
Fucking, that's a big risk. That's a big risk to bring him back now from a facial fracture.
Yeah, because you don't have to hit someone illegally for them to, bump their head into a teammate or bump their head into the ground when you tackle them. There's plenty of things outside of illegality that can aggravate or further fuck that kind of injury. But maybe they'll bring him out in like a Hannibal Lecter sort of situation, or like a Phantom of the Opera fucking like a hard helmet shell.
Look, I hope it's not a big one, because the ones that I remember, obviously the Penrith ones, was Regan Campbell-Gillard and Josh Mansell. And neither of them were ever the same player after facial injuries.
Do you remember Billy Slater's one back in the day?
I remember he doled a few out.
Not the aftermath. Yeah. How was he coming back?
Well, it was fucking great. It was early in his career. Disintegrate his face.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
I mean, you could tell through his whole career that his face was disintegrated, but yeah, it didn't affect his style of play.
I thought that was a chromosomal issue.
Yeah, same. Glennie's just educated both of us.
Yeah, there you go.
Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins. Sorry, you go.
So, they got some key guys out with Herbie and Felice Kafusi being out.
Yeah.
Particularly Felice Kafusi. I mean, he's such a leader for that forward pack. However, in saying that, they do have a lot of experienced guys. Yeah, I mean, that's what so saying. You need a fucking psycho out there.
Yeah, 100%.
To do the psycho shit.
Yep.
The only problem is he's like, he does tend to find himself in and out of the side quite a lot. And when he was suspended for was it sort of this time last year, wasn't it? Or maybe thereabouts.
Yeah.
And that's what started their slide. He was out for weeks and weeks and weeks. So yeah, it's a shame that Herbie's not there for the revenge game against his former club. But yeah, look, I think as solid as the Dolphins are, I just think back to that Storm game last week, and I just think the Broncos, even without Reynolds, they can still find points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fairly easily. And, while there is a solid baseline to the Dolphins, I feel that's what he's always say about them. But, they definitely have a solid baseline to them. But I just don't know, if the Broncos, if the Broncos' style of play while they're suffering these injury crises is a bit of like a defense optional shootout, I don't think the Dolphins can match them in that.
I think if the game opens up and Walsh is 80%, I think the Dolphins will struggle to contain him.
Yep.
And I think, Carrigan, I think he needs to have a big game for the Broncos. But again, there's just that extra touch of class between Mam and Walsh that, Stags as well, Cobbo. There's just that little bit of extra polish to the Broncos that the Dolphins just don't have.
Yep.
Yeah, agree.
Yep, I would agree.
Agree.
Okay, next we go Saturday afternoon. The Warriors take over the mighty Manly Sea Eagles over in New Zealand. Warriors without Bunty are 4. And what else have we got here? Manly will be running with 1 through 17 as of the 3rd or 4th minute of last week's game. And in saying that, so Ben Turbo will start in the centres where he played 90% of the game last week. I know Nathan Brown's in doubt, but we'll see how we go. I mean, he's named in 17 to go over. And I think Jason Saab's about ready to come back, but I don't think they'll take him over to New Zealand. And so he might be next week when he makes his return.
So Parlo's the odd man out there, surely.
I would fucking hope so, particularly because Tommy Talau is going okay, and Paolo's on the side of the field where Saab was. I mean, in round 1 in Las Vegas, Paolo played on the left, and then Saab was on the right. Since then, though, it feels to me that Tommy is more the guy they want there.
Yeah.
And so then Paolo will just sub out when Saab takes his, resumes his spot over on the right. I hope anyway, because I mean Tommy, while he's not going to set the world alight as a winger or anything like that, I mean he's solid.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's not afraid of.
He's not bad in the air. He's got a good amount of size to him. So he is a threat carrying the ball out. So yeah, and as opposed to Paulo.
Yeah, and with the basic rugby league fucking attitude of not being afraid of contact.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is the absolute fucking
prerequisite.
Apart from having arms and legs, it's the only other prerequisite I feel like rugby league player needs to have. So So look, I'd love to have Sabi back for this one particularly, but we'll have to wait another week there.
Should be a good game.
It should be. I mean, like traditionally, the good games. Traditionally, Manly do very well against the Warriors. There's the amount of classic games that have been ended by a DCE field goal versus the Warriors is nuts. And look, it's a good test. It's a good test for both the sides, to see. They've both been going pretty well this season, and let's see how we go. I mean, obviously, the big key here for Manly is just to contain Wade Egan, because I think if you could shut him down completely, it does limit a lot of the damage that the Warriors can do.
Yep.
Obviously, Fanua Blake's going to be huge. It's a revenge game for him as well. So we're going to need to have someone step up. Like Paseka's going to need to step up like he did last week, and Sipley's going to need to step up like he did last week, because the Warriors have got some big forwards. I mean, Bunny Afal being out, might hurt them a little bit, but their bench might be a little bit light, a little bit lighter on. But look, we'll fucking see. I'm fairly confident that the guys can get it done over there. So if they play the way that they can play, definitely.
Yeah.
And,
I think the Warriors win purely for the fact they're at home. That they're at home.
Sorry, because of the home.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Manly, turn one on and come away with a win. But I'm going to lean toward the Warriors with my tip, just for the home ground advantage.
Manly 13 plus.
Eat a dick.
The Eels take on the North Queensland Cowboys. This one's happening at Combank in Parramatta, and their side, of course, is they're going with a halves combination of Dejan Arce and Dylan Brown this week.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Morgan Harper has been recalled into the centres.
Oh, there you go.
Kalma Tuolangi's still in the 17.
Who's marking him? Anytime try scorer.
Val.
So, he's going for the Eels. Which side does he play on? He would play on their left, right? So
Yeah.
Defense. So
it's Val.
So yeah.
Load up.
Val ATS. Val 2+ tries. And Felty's probably going to get the. If it's not him, it'll be Felt.
Yeah, I think there was probably a couple of moments where young Blaze Talangi was found wanting defensively last week, but I don't know if he was that bad that he needed to be dropped for Morgan Harper, or Dejan Arce for that matter. But I couldn't tip Para.
Big issue for the Eels
sanity.
last week. Because Canberra didn't have a heck of a lot of possession in good field position. They scored a lot of long-range tries in that game. And I think I would have to say a team that I would think of scoring long-range tries more than I would think of Canberra scoring them, it'd be the fucking Cowboys. I mean, so I don't see how the Eels can turn that around in 1 week. They certainly are stronger at that home ground there at Combank, but man, I just think their season is on absolute pause until Mitchell Moses comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with an expectation that it could be as late as round 12.
Yep.
I mean, that's fucking season over if they continue the way they're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck.
Cowboys by plenty.
Yeah, hopefully. The Rabbits take on the Sharks at Sydney Olympic Park. The Rabbit side. Okay, so this one, you got Latrell suspended. He's out till round 10. So what's that, Magic Round or the week before? Campbell Graham's out, pretty much forever. Jaiara's out forever. Ilias is out forever. AJ's out indefinitely with a hamstring injury. Putting Jai Gray in at fullback.
Yeah, fuck.
and the still inexperienced halves combination. You got Cody Walker there with Dean Hawkins, who's been there the last couple of weeks with him. Damien Cook is out of the squad entirely in jersey number 18. So Peter Mamouzelis gets a start this time with Havili on the bench.
Yeah.
And Sharks, well, they got, let's see, has Finucane been named for them? He hasn't. He's still out. Britton Nakora, he's been named. When's he suspended till? He's been named. He must be back this week then. Look, they got a couple of injuries in the forwards, still to come back.
I think the way Souths are going, I think you'd tip them to win once JD gets sacked. Until then, I'm convinced they're playing like a team that wants to get their coach sacked. So I cannot tip them until that happens.
It's kind of almost, it's like he's selecting in such a way. It's almost like to send a
maybe he wants to be sacked too.
Yeah, he's either wanting to send I mean, I don't know why he wants to send a message to established players like Damien Cook if he's getting sacked, or if it's just that he's just naming this side to ensure he gets sacked. I don't know. I would love to be a fucking fly on the wall in there just to see what the fuck is going on, But yeah, Sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, Sharks that have to win this game.
Correct.
And fairly comfortably, you would imagine, right?
Yep.
If they're serious.
That's it.
All right. West Tigers take on the Dragons out at Campbelltown. Glennie.
Look.
Bateman's out. the Fainus are both injured as expected. Fucking hell. So Simkin comes in. Matamua. And a bunch of others on the reserve bench. A couple of youngster names. And Dragon side. Any changes to them at all? Sele comes in. Murdoch Masilla, the reserves. A couple of other reserves that they're not in the squad, so it doesn't pay to mention them really.
Like it's that thing, how they always say, first 5 rounds of the comp don't matter. Like you can't pick a winner in the first 5 rounds, and we're now at week 6. I still don't know what Dragon side is going to turn up, and I know last week they were horrible.
The shit one. It's the side that's turned up every week.
Yeah, it's kind of that's what they've been like for the last couple of years though too. Guaranteed spooners at the start of the season in the preseason betting, and then
out of the gates,
surprising everyone. Yeah, surprising everyone to finish a hearty 12th.
Yeah, but
this is one the Tigers should win if they're serious.
100% they should. This is the Tigers.
Is that Campbelltown?
Are they wearing the Magpies strip, Glennie?
Probably not. No respect for the Magpies.
Fucking
Although Richo has shown a keen willingness, if that's the right way to put it, to put more of a focus on that MacArthur corridor to try and shore up some of that fan base. Albeit,
he's going to need it. He's going to need it because they're not going to have Leichhardt.
Yeah, exactly. Which is okay, but look, I think the Tigers will win. They should win. They're a better team than the Dragons, filled with better players than what the Dragons have, and supported by a better fan base than what the Dragons have. So I think that the Tigers will win and win well, maybe blow out the cobwebs of some of their attack. And, I don't think it's too far a stretch to say that we'll probably put 50 on them.
There you go. You've heard that there. That is official.
The most confident
official investment advice from Glennie.
That is what we call financial advice.
Yes.
Resident financial planner, Glennie.
What was that, Glennie? You also said that they should not consider their individual circumstances before gambling. Okay.
Do not even bother reading the PDS.
They shouldn't think about the other stuff they could be buying.
No, do not read the PDS.
The more they put on, the more they get back. What?
Dive straight in and put everything on it, including your kids' trust fund, their education fees, everything. Put it on the Tigers and Junior Tupou, first try scorer.
There you go. Okay.
All right, there you go.
Now I opened up on socials tonight a mailbag.
Hang on.
Sorry.
We got one more.
Oh, do we? Fucking hell.
Yeah, Raiders take on the Titans.
Oh,
Yeah.
Raiders.
I can understand why you overlooked this game. But
Raiders.
we still need
Raiders
to talk about it.
Raiders by 42.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Please continue what you're saying.
After the mailbag turned into an absolute fucking shit show, I did put it back in the Facebook group. If you would like to contribute to the mailbag, jump onto Facebook, search in groups and search for hashtag TWiL Nation. It is not the TWiL Nation Facebook page. That is a public page that you can get to. Go into groups and search for hashtag TWiL Nation and get in there so you can contribute to the mailbag. Most of the questions were pretty good. If you're going to ask questions, though, don't make them about news items from the week, because we're already going to talk about those in the show. There was a bunch of people asking about the fucking Schuster thing and the 800k and, you know.
And like fucking sandworms from June.
Yeah, true. There we are. Scott had a very good question. Glennie, this one's, what do you think? Which is the worst fall off in the current bottom four, and which was the most predictable? South Titans, Eels, and Dragons.
I think
Dragons and Eels is not a fall off for me. I think you expect them to be thereabouts.
Yeah, I think
What,
South.
you expected Dragons and Eels to be bottom four, and Eels.
So Dragons and Titans.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
I guess the Eels you can attribute in large part to Moses. I think it's probably a stretch to say that they're the worst fall off, and certainly
They weren't winning
not the
many
most
games
predictable.
before he got injured, though, too.
Penrith have lost their halfback as well.
Yes, Jay, but we've already established that Parramatta are not Penrith.
The Broncos lost their fucking
Parramatta
halfback.
are also not Brisbane. Parramatta are Parramatta. I think the worst one is South.
I think so, too.
And yeah, I don't know that anyone expected the Titans to be great, but I don't know that anyone expected them with Des coming in and his reputation. I don't know
but
that anyone
falling
expected
from like 13th or 14th to 13th or 14th isn't a fall off. I mean, the Rabbits are a team that people are saying, locked in top four, grand final, contenders.
I think it was more people expected more from the Titans this year. It's not saying that 13th to 14th isn't that bad. It's that people expected them to get a little bit better, and they've gotten worse.
Yeah, well, it's a long season. They could improve to 12th by the end of the season. You never know.
So I think Souths are the worst, and Dragons are probably the most predictable.
Right, yeah, beautiful. Mitch, what are your thoughts on the NRL not acknowledging Jennings' milestone game and not doing the same with other troubled players like Lodge and DeBellin?
Well, I don't think they're acknowledged
for anyone
games either.
For anyone who's under a rock, Michael Jennings is playing his 300th game this week, and has come back after being convicted of using performance-enhancing drugs. In the meantime, he has undergone a civil lawsuit from his ex-wife, and he's been ordered to pay close to $500,000 for past damages to her.
Which the damage is being, raping her multiple times whilst married. Like it's, that's what the civil case covered. So come on.
Look, I haven't gone too far into the details of that, but I think the NRL has handled this one relatively well, where they've basically just come out and said that because of past behaviours, he's not being recognised. And you can read into that whatever the fuck you want. But from their point of view, they've just said that he is not up to scratch as a personality we want to recognise.
If it was up to the...
I'm not sure what...
Sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure. I mean, who else, has anyone else reached 300 games that has that kind of shit behind them where the question of to be acknowledged or not to be acknowledged?
I think he was more asking, when and if and when it comes around.
With his career ending on 298 games originally, he should never have fucking got the 300 in the first place via registration, and he's only got the 300 this week. It's only become a thing because so many cunts got knocked out last week, and he was the 18th man and got activated to get to 299.
Yep.
But like this like I got absolutely no problem with what the NRL said. I mean, I don't even know that they should have released a statement like proactively. If the question was asked, then answer it.
Yep.
And say what they said. But I just think the less attention, given to him, the better, really.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're not going to, it's one thing to say, "Oh, we're not going to do it," but it's not like they're real. They're making some big statement either about domestic violence and they've got a whole fucking women's division of the league now as well.
Yep.
And I mean,
baby steps.
I'd struggle to be a female fan of the game.
But baby steps.
If I was a Roosters fan,
But I think less is more in this one. In just they're saying it and they're getting ready to say it. So from a game that's actually done nothing to speak out against the domestic violence and the fucking glassings and the rape and the fucking kidnappings that have been perpetrated on women.
And then the guy that's been run out of the game the hardest for pissing in his mouth or looking to be attempting to pissing in his mouth.
Yeah, that's it.
And yet these other guys can fucking find their way back,
Jennings can get a lifeline.
Yeah. And Ted Avano, Bashford, Phil Blake,
fucking old mate Robert Louis,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what. Did he get a lifeline, Louis? He did get it. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
he got the Cowboys.
Yeah, he got knocked out of the Tigers, and he did it again at the Cowboys. Yeah. Then he got knocked out of England. Yeah.
That's it. Isaac, he said, after the outcry about Ponga Dally M win last year, and then the rule changes to fix it, what do we think about Ponga being the current Dally M points leader?
It's fucking crazy because I mean, like the point. You look at where he's harvested the points.
Yeah.
And games in which it's nonsense. It's the same reason why Nico Hines is up there and he's harvested points from doing fucking nothing in games where he was shit.
Exactly.
Like it's actually just given cunts who can't adjudicate games without looking at the big names and the reputations or whatever.
Yep.
It's given them double the points to play with, right?
I heard
a player can get a player can get 6 points a game now.
Yeah.
Whereas the damage was limited to 3 previously.
Yeah. I heard this and it gave me cause to pause a little while ago, and it was in another sport, and it was talking about the NBA and their player awards at the end of the season. They don't do points per se, they do votes.
Right.
And they send out a ballot. You have to be a certain tenure or professionalism or recognizability in the media, and you get a vote.
Yeah.
Right? So, funnily enough, there are now a bunch of people who are coming back as journalists and saying, I refuse my vote because I don't feel right about deciding somebody's future compensation, because so many players have things tied to player awards in their contracts. That's another story. But I've started to think this about the Dally M's, that I just don't fucking care about them anymore, because the vast majority of rugby league fans out there are what would be almost disrespectfully referred to as casuals. In that, they follow their team, or they will watch a game, the late game on Friday night, and maybe a Sunday afternoon game.
Yep.
And they'll read the paper with some stories.
Yep.
So the whole Dally M thing is geared towards, at the end of the year, having the hyped up superstar names of each team appearing somewhere in that lineup. And for fans of almost every team in the league to have someone that they can look at and go, oh, they got to fucking look in there. That's great. Or, oh yeah, Nico Hines, I haven't seen a fucking Sharks game all year because I don't follow the Sharks and I don't watch, all of the games on Super Saturday. But I remember he played State of Origin. Yep, he's pretty good, isn't he? As long as it makes sense to the casuals. Oh, Kalen Ponga. Yep, I've seen all his highlight reels. He's great when he pulls on a Queensland jumper. So that's where I'm at with Dally M's. So who fucking cares? The hype players are going to get them. End of story.
Yep.
Yeah. I think there's always been an element to that, and it's probably been exacerbated by the change to the point setup. But the net result is the highest profile guy that is there or thereabouts is probably going to get the gong.
Put it this way: if the real purists came through, would either one of us be disappointed if fucking Ola Kawatu out of Manly, was getting bulk fucking points for his contribution to the side's wins? No, none of it, because he's a fucking gun. He plays the game hard. He's damaging in what he does. However, he's not going to because there are bigger names on that team. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like I would you guys as members of your club probably have a similar thing that you have to do not have to, but can do each week as well. But like Manly's got a club award like Gordon Willoughby medal that goes to the as voted. You vote for the player of the match each week.
Yep.
For Manly, and then that cumulative goes through. All the members have a vote, and that's an award at the end of the season award thing. And talk with other Manly fans, there's always a discussion like who's getting the fucking vote this week. And I'm like, I'm giving it to fucking Brownie because he changed the game. I mean, and he was winning the game. But I mean, then you look at the Dally M's, and he got some points, but probably Daly got the most. And like for me, I reckon half of that game he was pretty fucking jittery, probably because of the milestone and the rest of it.
Yeah, he made some pretty uncharacteristic errors.
Yeah, and it wasn't until he bobbled that ball and scored the try. After that, fucking locked it down. But it was almost like that ball, he could have dropped that and gone on and had a shocker, or he caught it and the fucking bad juju disappeared, and then that was it. And he was fine from then. And I mean, he had a good game, kicked him to death, and didn't miss a conversion, including most of them from touchline. But I'm not saying he wouldn't, if it was 3-2-1 situation, he's not getting my 3. Maybe he gets a 1, Yeah. And like Tommy 2 and then Nathan Brown 3 or something like that. But it just goes to show, I don't know if they just need almost like a panel around each game to sort of discuss the pros and cons and let people, sort of be convinced and, just think more clearly or deeply about their decision than what appears to be this surface level fucking Daly's. It was Daly's big milestone game. Yeah. They won the game. He got 6 out of 6. Yeah. I'm looking at the stats. He got 6 out of 6 conversions and a try. He's 3.
It's like they watch the game with the game on in the background while they're in the kitchen, and they're listening to the commentators who say Kalen Ponga's name a lot or Daly's name a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they hear that, and then they're like, "Fuck, I've got to write this down." Well, Ponga gets my 6 points because all I've heard is his name, but that's because that's what the commentators do. That's what they're paid to do, is to hype these motherfuckers up. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
There we go. What a mailbag. Okay. Well done. First week back and you didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did a good job selecting only like 3 or 4 and skipping the ones about, fucking sandworms. All right. That's it, boys.
That's us.
Done.
See you next week.
There's a good old-fashioned fucking 2-hourer.
Yeah, we did crack 2 hours. There you go. For the old schools.
Fuck yeah.
Remember, they used to be 30% longer than this.
No, hey.
All right. Next week.
Later.
See ya.
See ya.